Have you ever felt drained after too much chit-chat or realized you said things you later regretted? In a world that prizes constant communication, whether through social media, endless meetings, or casual gossip, silence can seem unnatural or even suspicious. Yet centuries of monastic traditions and figures like Gautama Buddha reveal a hidden truth. Talking less can actually make you stronger, mentally, emotionally, and even spiritually. This script delves into how purposeful silence fosters clarity, reduces stress, and deepens our connections with others and ourselves. If you're ready to discover why less talking often means more power, read on. The pressure to fill the space. From small talk at parties to brainstorming sessions at work, we often feel compelled to fill gaps in conversation. Silence, in many cultures, is seen as awkward, leaving participants uneasy. Marketing and media also push the idea that being vocal, visible, and constantly reachable equals success. Social media scrolls encourage hot takes on everything, reinforcing the notion that we should always have something to say. But this relentless flow of chatter can dull our senses. We're so busy broadcasting our thoughts or listening to others' streams of consciousness that we rarely pause for self-reflection. Buddha recognized this frenetic state as a prime source of suffering, pointing out that incessant dialogue often stems from the mind's restlessness, our monkey mind jumping from topic to topic, craving validation or fearing judgment. By never letting silence speak, we block the calm clarity that emerges when the mind rests. Recognizing how modern life encourages constant noise sets the stage for seeing why cutting back on verbal output can restore balance. Instead of wearing out your mental circuits in perpetual chatter, you can conserve energy, maintain deeper focus, and open yourself to the potency of listening, all hallmarks of a more stable and introspective life. Buddhist traditions. On silence. Historically, Buddhist monks and nuns practiced periods of noble silence, sometimes lasting days or weeks, to deepen meditation and foster inner awareness. During these retreats, participants refrain from casual conversation, focusing on breath and body sensations. Such quietude quickly reveals how much mental noise lingers beneath the surface: anxiety, daydreams, regrets. By deliberately removing social chatter, monks discover how their own thoughts and emotions clamor for attention. This monkish silence isn't about punishing oneself, it's a method for clarity. Think about your average day. How much of your speaking is strictly necessary, and how much is habit or nervous filling of space? When you talk less, you learn to watch your mind's impulses, noticing what truly needs to be communicated and what's just reflex. This practice aligns with right speech, one aspect of the Eightfold Path, speech that's purposeful, truthful, and beneficial. By limiting idle or harmful talk, you build discipline over your words, harnessing them more wisely. Moreover, Buddha's teaching of anatta, no self, suggests that many statements we make, boasting, complaining, or gushing about our opinions, reinforce an illusion of a fixed ego. Silence helps dismantle that reflex, revealing we can exist and connect without constantly asserting ourselves. It transforms conversation from a battlefield of egos to a conscious sharing of ideas, leading to more peaceful relationships and personal serenity. Clarity through quiet, calming the monkey mind. When you reduce chatter, something remarkable happens. You start to notice your internal monologue more acutely. This may initially feel unsettling. Without the distraction of talking, you face your own swirling thoughts and latent anxieties. But facing them is the first step to taming them. In Buddhist thought, mindfulness is key to calming mental turbulence. Each moment of silence offers a mini window to observe what's happening inside you: tension in your shoulders, a reoccurring worry, or excitement for a future event. Free from constant verbal output, your mind can shift attention inward, recognizing patterns that might otherwise remain hidden. As your environment quiets, your capacity for self-awareness grows. Instead of broadcasting every fleeting idea or feeling, you listen internally, sorting trivial from significant. This mental decluttering fosters a sense of control, knowing where your energies lie and how to direct them. Over time, you become more grounded, less reactive. You might even spot solutions or creative sparks that chattering might have drowned out. Silence, in other words, isn't emptiness. It's a fertile space where your mind can breathe and reorganize, letting genuine insight emerge. Building empathy through listening. Talking less doesn't merely help you, it profoundly impacts how you relate to others. In our rapid-fire culture, we often talk at each other, rushing to share opinions or stories. Rarely do we pause to let the other person's words sink in. This dynamic leaves many feeling unheard, sparking misunderstandings and distance. When you choose to speak less, you open space for genuine listening. You focus on the speaker's tone, expressions, and emotional subtext, far more than if you were preoccupied with crafting your next point. This depth of listening fosters empathy, bridging divides that quick, surface-level conversations can't. For instance, a colleague who usually rattles off work updates might, under your receptive silence, reveal hidden anxieties or needs. A friend might share personal burdens they rarely mention because you finally gave them unhurried room to articulate them. Buddha viewed right speech as not only about speaking truthfully, but also about hearing truthfully. If you're busy talking, you can't effectively absorb another person's perspective or emotion. By willingly stepping back and letting silence fill dialogues, you gather richer insights into others' experiences. The result is stronger emotional bonds, reduced conflict, and a more compassionate approach to everyday interactions. In a sense, minimal talking amplifies your ability to connect on deeper levels. Ironically, by receding from center stage, you become more attuned and helpful. The spiritual power of silence. Beyond practical perks like better listening, Buddha highlighted a deeper, almost sacred function of silence. It becomes a gateway to self-discovery and spiritual maturity. Freed from the noise of habitual speech, the mind confronts ultimate questions. Who am I beneath labels and banter? What do I truly seek? Monastics often rely on extended silence to strip away superficial identities, letting them sense the fluid nature of self, anatta, in real time. In a secular sense, adopting short intervals of silence can produce similar reflections. When you resist the urge to fill space, you see how your identity often hinges on stating opinions, telling anecdotes, or affirming your persona. Silence disrupts that pattern, compelling you to realize you can be without performing or proving. This realization carries a liberating effect, removing the compulsion to define yourself constantly. Moreover, quiet fosters a capacity for humility. By not always proclaiming your knowledge or experiences, you open yourself to new learning. You notice subtle details, read body language better, and stay curious instead of certain. Buddha valued this humility as a bulwark against arrogance, a trait that can blind us to growth opportunities. Silence, then, can be both a journey and a shield. A journey into the essence of your being and a shield against the pitfalls of ego-driven speech. Practical ways to embrace silence. In the hustle of modern life, total retreats into silence might seem impractical. Yet you can weave smaller practices that echo monastic discipline. One approach is the micro-retreat. Set aside a brief time daily, maybe early morning or late evening, where you're phone-free, avoiding conversation unless absolutely necessary. Treat it as an appointment with yourself, letting quiet rule. Even 10 or 15 minutes can reset mental clutter and anchor you in calm. Another tactic is single tasking. While not total silence, it mirrors the monastic focus by dedicating yourself fully to one activity, such as reading or cooking, without background chatter or music. This fosters presence. You listen to the moment rather than dividing your senses. Over time, the discipline to remain silent with tasks deepens mental clarity. If you're feeling adventurous, consider a silent half-day or weekend retreat at home, giving loved ones a heads up. Engage in quiet chores, journaling, or meditative walks. Notice initial restlessness, then observe how your mind adjusts. The purpose isn't to become a hermit, but to glimpse how minimal talking can free you from constant mental output, paving the way for restful introspection. Dealing with discomfort and social expectations. Choosing silence can clash with social norms. Colleagues or friends might ask, "Is everything okay?" if you speak less. Family gatherings might deem extended quiet awkward. Buddha faced similar skepticism when stepping away from worldly chatter. Yet his refusal to overindulge in talk was rooted in compassion, not disregard. He wanted his words to be meaningful, not empty. When discomfort arises, gently explain your intention to practice mindful speech or take a quiet pause. Most reasonable people respect thoughtful intentions once they grasp them. If someone accuses you of being aloof, clarify that you're focusing on listening or practicing calm presence, not ignoring them. Over time, they may come to appreciate the depth your silence brings to conversations. The real challenge may be internal, an itch to fill silence or worry about how others perceive you. Buddhist teachings recommend observing this itch with curiosity. Label it as fear of awkwardness or desire for validation, then breathe. Let the moment pass. This approach builds mental resilience. Each time you resist the compulsion to speak without purpose, you reinforce your capacity to hold space calmly, a skill that can prove invaluable in any setting, from negotiations to heartfelt dialogues. Reaping the benefits: peace, focus, and deeper relationships. Over time, reducing speech in favor of intentional silence yields multiple rewards. First, you conserve mental energy. Non-stop talking tires the mind, often leading to hasty words or regrets. By filtering out needless chatter, you stay fresher and think more clearly. Second, you cultivate inner peace. You're not constantly reacting verbally, so your mind rests more readily. This calmer interior environment translates into lower stress and sharper focus when tasks demand your full attention. In relationships, the payoff is significant. Speaking less, listening more, and giving others the floor fosters empathy and trust. People sense that you genuinely value what they have to say, which strengthens bonds. Repeatedly practicing mindful silence also trains you to respond, not react. Instead of blurting out an emotional retort, you take a second to breathe, weigh your words, and offer a measured reply. These shifts can also enhance your personal leadership. Whether you lead a household, a team, or just yourself, measured speech demonstrates self-control and credibility. Others see your words carry weight because you only speak when necessary. The Greek philosopher Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason." Buddha would likely agree that the proportion underscores the power of quiet receptivity. Moving forward with monastic wisdom. As you integrate silence into your daily routine, remember that it's not about ceasing speech entirely, but refining your relationship with it. If you slip back into rambling or impulsive chatting, treat it as an opportunity to practice compassion toward yourself. Buddha recognized that mastery over habits takes time and patience. Awareness is the first step. Catching yourself mid-ramble can become a mini-victory if you calmly pivot to mindful quiet. You might also explore supportive tools. Some people join meditation groups or sanghas that encourage regular silent retreats or designated hush periods. Others experiment with journaling, which channels the urge to express into a private, reflective space. That practice can fulfill emotional needs for sharing without adding to the external noise. Over weeks or months, your comfort with silence expands. You may discover whole new dimensions of creativity, introspection, and empathy once freed from the compulsion to verbalize every thought. Ultimately, you transform from someone who fears silence as awkward or lonely into someone who finds nourishment in quiet intervals. Like monks who discovered that silence sharpens wisdom and fosters genuine bonding, you too can experience how stepping back from constant chatter opens the path to personal strength and mental clarity. Buddha's insight into silence shows that talking less can do more than reduce noise. It can amplify your self-awareness, deepen your connections, and anchor your emotional balance. By cutting back on unnecessary speech, You save mental energy, master impulsive reactions, and listen more fully to others. Is there a small step you can take today? Perhaps a mindful pause before speaking or a mini silent retreat at home? Share your reflections in the comments. And if this perspective on quiet resonates, like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel Monk Mindset for more guidance on living with depth, calm, and authentic presence.